I'm Christian Achkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced his Indigenous Advisory Council on Wednesday evening. In total, there are 11 Indigenous representatives from across the country that will work with his recently created Major Projects Office in Calgary. This past spring, the Liberal government pushed through Bill C-5, the Building Canada Act. Amongst his advisory, there are 2 representatives from north of 60. Notably, both Saskatchewan and Quebec have 2 representatives each, while British Columbia, Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, and Nova Scotia each have 1 representative. Some backlash is underway in Manitoba today as the lone representative who comes from the Manitoba Métis Federation. The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs says the voices and decision-making authority of First Nations in Manitoba have been ignored. In a statement, Grand Chief Kyra Wilson said, "There are nation-building projects that will affect our lands, our waters, and our future generations. They cannot advance on the basis of advisory councils crafted in Ottawa." Métis Nation Alberta is also among those expressing their disappointment in not having a seat on the council and calling for that to be rectified. A previous dangerous person alert in Saskatchewan that was issued for the Big River First Nation and surrounding area has been lifted. According to Saskatchewan RCMP, Drayden McAdam was arrested and the alert was called off just before 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday evening. The initial alert came from RCMP just after 4 p.m. for Big River and the surrounding area, and it was reported that the suspect had a gun in the First Nation. RCMP say they believe there is no more risk to public safety. The investigation continues this week. A woman from a First Nation in northern Manitoba has been arrested after more than $100,000 in illegal drugs were seized at an airport. Last Sunday night, Oxford House RCMP said a First Nation safety officer detained a 37-year-old woman from Bunabonabee Cree Nation at the local airport as she got off the plane from Winnipeg. RCMP says they seized crack cocaine and Oxycontin pills, all of it at an estimated street value of $140,000. The woman is now facing 2 counts of possession for the purpose of trafficking and possession of a controlled substance. RCMP say the drugs were destined for Bunabonabee, and the RCMP thanks the First Nation safety officers who made the find. The name was not released. The investigation continues. Now to a story about the ongoing fallout of Jordan's principal funding. Twin sisters in a high school in Montreal are at high risk of being separated. One sister may have to change schools if delays in receiving subsidies through Jordan's principal continue. The family says the program's response time is causing serious challenges and hardship. APTN's Stephanie Dussave met with the twins and their mother.
It's back to school for Rosalie and her twin sister, Violette, in a Montreal high school where they feel safe. But the future of the twins at Centennial Academy is at stake. Because of Jordan's principal, the Canadian government has been subsidizing Rosalie's tuition fees for 2 years and Violette's for 3 years. This year, one of the twins may have to change schools. Noémie Vincent, the mother of the twins, is awaiting the program's confirmation.
Mais là, finalement, on a eu l'information au milieu de l'été qu'on n'aurait pas la nouvelle à temps. Ce qui fait que là, on s'est retrouvés vraiment mal pris parce que qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Là, nos filles, on les a quand même fait commencer l'école là-bas parce qu'on souhaite de tout cœur qu'elles puissent continuer là-bas.
The twins have struggled in school ever since they were little.
On a eu des difficultés d'apprentissage qui ont été diagnostiquées, troubles d'attention, anxiété.
The twins' parents searched high and low before finding a school suited to the needs of their daughters.
On a fini par trouver une école incroyable. Ça donne que c'est dans le domaine privé, mais ça a complètement changé nos vies. C'est sûr qu'il y a un coût à ça. Puis quand on a su que le principe de Jordan pouvait financer ça, sincèrement, j'ai versé une larme tellement j'étais soulagée. Ça a complètement tout changé. Ils sont heureuses, sont motivées, l'anxiété est descendue.
For many parents, this year, the responses to Jordan's principal grant applications are coming late. The family must find a plan B in order to be able to cover the monthly tuition fees.
Moi, ça m'inquiète parce que l'école coûte cher, puis comme je sais que c'est vraiment dur à payer.
C'est sûr qu'il y a une des deux jumelles qui a plus de difficultés que l'autre. C'est que celle qui a plus de difficultés, on va essayer de tout faire pour pouvoir la laisser à cette école-là, comme je dis, peut-être prendre un prêt, peut-être demander à la famille.
Ici, j'ai tous mes amis, puis je comprends bien les cours et tout, puis ben là, ça se peut que je parte, puis j'ai pas envie.
This puts the mother in a delicate spot.
Ça me brise le cœur de me dire qu'elle serait séparée.
Vincent looked into the list of schools that offer support for kids with special needs.
Sinon, on nous dit, ben, il y a les écoles publiques. Pour l'avoir essayé dans le passé, ma fille, ça l'a mis en dépression là, parce que c'était trop pour elle.
She's an Indigenous person also from East.
The Mohawk Council of Ganawage took a stand when it learned that funds from Jordan's principal would be delayed due to legal and administrative delays.
We had a discussion around it, and what we decided was that we were going to address the most urgent needs first, and that came to, I believe it was 25 students.
The council adopted an exceptional emergency measure to cover tuition fees for the current year for an amount of more than $325,000, pending a full reimbursement of the program. Vincent reacted to learning about their decision.
Tu dis, wow, ça veut dire qu'ils croient au potentiel de ces élèves-là. C'est que c'est sûr qu'on pousse dans ce sens-là. On aimerait ça avoir juste un plan B. Est-ce qu'on peut avoir une solution, même si c'est juste une partie qui pourrait nous aider?
Vincent also sent in a request to her nation, Wendake. She explains that the council's hands are tied. The grant application was sent, but they are also waiting for a response.
Mais quand on appelle, les gens se relancent la balle.
The federal minister responsible for Jordan's principal, Mandy Golmasti, was unable to respond to the request for comment before deadline. The inaction of the government worries Vincent.
Là, si en plus le gouvernement vient nous couper les possibilités d'envoyer nos enfants là, ils nous mettent pas une autre solution devant nous. On n'a juste pas de solution. Puis je trouve ça plate de tout de suite dire, ben c'est voué à l'échec. Mes filles vont juste décrocher de l'école finalement, jamais avoir leur diplôme, être déprimées là-dedans. On n'a vraiment pas envie de vivre ça comme parents, là, c'est sûr.
As time runs out, Vincent does not know how the tuition fees will be paid and is worried. The twins may be separated. Stéphanie Desèvres, APTN National News, Montréal.
It's the beginning of another school year for students at Thunder Bay's Dennis Franklin Cromarty High School. And for many first-year students, it's their first time being away from home. The school, often referred to as the DFC, hosts students from First Nations communities across Ontario, and officials at the school want to make the transition as easy as possible for them. APTN's Mike McDonald reports.
You guys want to eat first or do the boots first? What do you want to do?
It's day one of orientation for Dennis Franklin Cromarty students. Today's activity is called the DFC Amazing Race, and it's designed to help newcomers to Thunder Bay find their way around. DFC's transition coordinator says there are at least 2 challenges that students face in their first days at school.
I mean, homesickness is a big one. Eventually that'll happen when they're away from family for quite a long period of time. But right off the hop, we definitely want to make sure that they are familiar with the transit system. It's their primary way to get around town, so we definitely make sure that's a priority right off the hop.
Students made their way through Thunder Bay's waterfront, making stops at various information stations. Elder Sam Achny-Peniscum was there to share stories with the students. He says it's something he looks forward to every year.
It's always good to talk to the young people, and when you live here, you see a lot of things that happen to the young people that come here. So hopefully that we remind them to be safe and to take care of themselves while they're here, and to remember why they're here. Going to school.
Over at DFC, various workshops are underway, including this one with Canadian pop music group Neon Dreams, who also performed at this year's Wake the Giant Music Festival. At the other end of the school, Thielen Kignosway is putting on a hoop dancing demonstration.
We've always been gathering for generations and generations, and now we're able to do it at such a huge at such a huge scale. We're inviting youth from many different communities, and we're able to gather here and be able to share our culture in good ways, and be able to learn from one another. So I think that's what it's all about.
Back at Marina Park, local skateboarders are showing off their tricks to the DFC students. The president of the Thunder Bay Skateboarding Coalition says he wants Indigenous students to feel welcome here.
It's a way to get some of the First Nation youth to show what's going on in our community, make sure they feel included, and the skate park's a big part of that. It's a place where the youth can gather and at their own pace, and everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter race, gender, income level, anything like that. Everybody is welcome here at the skate park, and we just want to make sure that they're aware of that and then that they're welcome here.
Having been through it all before, these DFC seniors have some advice for this year's juniors.
Stay with your friends because they will help you a lot, and if your guys are really close, they'll feel like family. And keep in touch with your family too, because that's also helps with the homesickness too. And just try to have fun while you're here.
Don't be scared. If you need help, just ask for help, like physical support, mental support. Even if you need help for work, homework, tutoring.
Really, you just have to put yourself out there. Don't isolate yourself. Don't be shy. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And if you don't put yourself out there, people aren't always just gonna put it on a silver platter for you and just give it to you. You have to get it yourself. You have to work for yourself. That's how our ancestors did it.
And like many returning students, Kakapitam has her go-to destinations when returning to Thunder Bay for school.
When I first got in, I went straight to Tim Hortons. Yeah, I love my Timbits and tea.
Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Thunder Bay.
Right on, students. We're all very proud of you. Moose hunting season begins next week near Bloodvein River First Nation in eastern Manitoba, but non-Indigenous hunters pursuing the sacred animal will be turned away at check stops managed by the community in an effort to protect the moose population and their food security. Bloodvein River First Nation Chief Lisa Young says the decision to ban non-Indigenous people from hunting moose in the area comes after years of overhunting by big game enthusiasts. She says results of the 2024 aerial survey by the Manitoba government confirms the moose population is critically low in some areas of their traditional territory and only stable in others. Hunting organizations in Manitoba are calling for the province to intervene and force the community to allow non-Indigenous hunters through. Angela Lavasser is the chief for Nissequoyasik Cree Nation around 450 kilometers northwest of Bloodvein. She says the moose overhunting issue affects many First Nations across the province.
We rely on the moose, on the caribou. We rely on the fish for food security, to sustain ourselves, as my fellow leaders has indicated. And yet we're being subjected to violent, racist comments, threats of violence for protecting what little we have left. In my view, that's outrageous, it's unacceptable, and it comes from a place of ethnocentrism. We rely on the moose population and my nation and many other Treaty 5 nations and other nations as well for sustenance and survival. It's not a game for us, it's a way of life.
And our Sav Jonesa will have a full report on our evening newscast on the calls to ban moose hunting in Bloodvein River First Nation. Please join us then. Indigenous leaders are again warning the federal government to consult with them regarding future major infrastructure projects. That story when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. BC Premier David Eby is hoping that the province will play a big role in jump-starting the Canadian economy with major infrastructure projects. Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney revealed the first projects to get the green light to be fast-tracked, but Indigenous leaders are warning that consulting with First Nations can't be sacrificed. CTV's Rob Buffum reports.
After much anticipation, Ottawa will unveil on Thursday its list of major projects deemed in the national interest.
Tomorrow, we'll announce the first tranche, the first batch of these projects. Projects that will increase Canada's independence, boost our economy, align with the interests of Indigenous peoples, and advance our climate goals.
The Prime Minister has sought pitches from the provinces for energy and infrastructure builds that would help the country face the economic headwinds of its U.S. trade war, and which will be streamlined in environmental, Indigenous, and regulatory approvals. Plus, likely receive federal funding. BC has repeatedly said it should lead the way.
I expect a significant number of BC projects on that major project list. If they're not, I will be not just deeply disappointed, but it will let down all Canadians.
Alberta has pushed for an oil pipeline through BC. It's rumored that pitch made the draft long list, but didn't make the cut for tomorrow. In BC, it's hoped LNG expansion, including at the Kitimat facility, more critical mineral mines, and hydroelectric transmission lines connecting the Yukon and Alberta will get approvals.
To build that one Canadian economy turbocharged by major nation-building projects that connect our regions, that diversify our products, that build new markets and create those hundreds of thousands of high-paying careers.
Carney announced the creation of an Indigenous Advisory Council Wednesday. Not good enough, say BC First Nations leaders who worry these projects will get rammed through.
There's absolutely a deep, grave concern about both the government of Canada and the government of British Columbia simply moving ahead without free, prior, and informed consent.
If a pipeline isn't announced tomorrow, it's not off the table. A second set of projects will be announced before the Grey Cup in November.
Robert Buffum, CTV News.
The Manitoba Museum in Winnipeg has recently returned 19 items that belonged to Chief Piapot. The items were also on display at a special 150th commemoration of the signing of Treaty 4 last Tuesday. The repatriation to the Piapot First Nation is the largest in the museum's history. The items include Chief Piapot's ceremonial pipes, a drum, an eagle fan, medicine pouches, and leggings, as well as gifts the chief gave as thanks to the minister who conducted his daughter's marriage ceremony. As a thank you, the First Nation invited museum representatives to attend last Tuesday's repatriation ceremony. The museum says repatriation is an important institutional responsibility.
Really honored to do this work, and we were really honored to be invited out to the celebration. It is a proud moment for museums to really take stock of what we're doing here and to really look at what speaks to our collections and what belongings really do rightfully need to go home.
The museum's repatriation policy began in 2007 following the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action and the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. APTN News will have a longer feature story on Chief Piapot's items returning home in the coming weeks. We now want to tell you about this week's third web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, have delays in Jordan's principal funding affected your family or someone you know? Your answers are yes, no, or unsure. Go to aptnnews.ca/poll to have your say. We will post the results next week. With summer almost wrapping up for another year, our Chris Stewart made sure to swing by a recent Indian relay race. That story when we come back. Wallalin for staying with us. St. John's 14 in rain, Charlottetown 19 and sunny. Nuujooak 6, La Grande River 7. Quebec City 22, Val-d'Or 9. Toronto 23, Sault Ste. Marie 16 and partly cloudy. Big Trout Lake 14 and sunny, Sioux Lookout 19. Sunny in Norway House at 19, God's Lake 21. Princess Harbour 19, Winnipeg 17 and showers there. Rain in Swift Current at 15, Regina 18 and partly cloudy. 16 in Buffalo Narrows, Smoky and Meadow Lake at 17. Sunny in Peace River at 29, Fort McMurray 28. Showers in Lethbridge at 17, Edmonton 30. 30 in Kamloops, Smoky and Campbell River at 15. Smithers 18, Smoky and Prince Rupert at 13. 12 in Beaver Creek and sunny there, Whitehorse 15. 25 in Fort Simpson, Yellowknife 22 and sun's out there. Tuktoyaktuk 3, Pawlatuck 9 and showers. Baker Lake 7, Chesterfield 6. And the Iqaluit 4, Iqaluit +6 and sunny. The Bonnyville Agricultural Society and the Kahiwin Cree Nation in Alberta recently finished 2 days of Indian relay over the weekend. APTN's Chris Stewart reports.
Hey, guys ready?
Indian horse relay races are not your typical race. It needs a team to help a rider exchange horses after every lap. It's fast and dangerous, and the crowds love it. And this past weekend, the crowd got to see riders across treaties 6, 7, and 8 compete in men's, women's, and youth races.
Yeah, it went really good. We banged our exchanges. There was a big accident at our last exchange. We ran over some people. We ended up taking first.
And the youth really loved the challenge of relay.
We have 2 teams. I came first, and then her team over there, she came second. But I had to finish it.
That's pretty good.
Our teams are Ida Relay and JJ Newsumak.
Can I have your names?
I'm Faith. I'm Tatum.
Last names?
Jackson. And I'm Taya Jackson.
And where are you from?
Goodfish. Saddle Lake.
This elder was there to support her family competing.
The little ones are racing and we're watching them and it's exciting. They're learning.
You're going to be champions one day?
Oh yes, already they are today.
If you have not seen Indian relay races in person, put it on your calendar. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Bonnyville, Alberta.
New York Fashion Week kicks off this Thursday and runs until September 16th. Relative Artists NYC will be hosting the first ever Indigenous New York Fashion Week in the city's East Village, with 23 Indigenous designers lined up to be featured in various showcases. Designers, directors, producers, and makeup artists have been working hard to set up the runway and make sure everything runs smoothly. The show follows the success of the second annual Native Fashion Week that took place in Santa Fe last May. This year has been one for the books for Indigenous fashion designers that are gaining recognition. Relative Artists in East Village of New York City says the inaugural Indigenous New York Fashion Week is taking place September 11th to the 16th with runways at the Grace Exhibition Space in Lenapeaco. New York's King's Fashion Week begins tomorrow, and Relative Artists say the week is filled with programming that showcases Indigenous creativity across all disciplines, along with non-stop entertainment and celebrations. And that's your daytime newscast for this September 11th. TR Wheatley is back for your evening newscast in a few hours. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, hi miigwech masicho. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next day.